I'll take off the next day. But just do that primary.
Especially with parties. Yes.
All righty, good morning everyone, good morning. Welcome to our December Borough Cabinet meeting. We've made it through the year, y'all. What a year it has been. I want to personally thank all of our district managers and agency representatives who are with us this morning. And of course, this is Frank Galucio's last one. Don't make us cry. But we'll talk about you towards the end of the meeting. Yeah, but we love you and we thank you for all your hard work for how many years? Ooh.
I forgot.
A long time. But we'll talk about you at the end of the conversation meeting. Today we receive a presentation from our Queens District Attorney's Fraud Bureau. In the midst of the seasonal joy and camaraderie, our priority is to ensure the safety of our Queens community and promote awareness of scams and frauds that persistently target us, especially our senior citizens. The Queens District Attorney's Fraud Bureau investigates and prosecutes crimes related to embezzlement, investment scams, insurance fraud, online scams, tax fraud, SNAP benefit fraud, and much more. The presentation will consist of preventative measures to avoid becoming a victim of scams. It will also outline how to identify a scam and what steps to take if you are a victim of a scam. Here to present this morning is the Bureau Chief, Joseph Conley. But before Joseph begins, I want to give a warm welcome to somebody who needs no introduction to this chair or this office, a former Borough President and now Queens District Attorney, Melinda Katz. On behalf of the Borough of Queens, we want to thank you for all that you've done and continue to do to ensure the safety of our borough. I have one question for you though. Does returning to this room evoke a little sense of nostalgia for you?
Of course it does. I know it's a good thing.
So it is great to have you here, and I just want to really thank you in your office for such a strong partnership. And you know, we won't get into what the prior DA did, but one of the things I'm so proud of when it comes to this district attorney, they are everywhere. And they're not just looking at things from the lens of criminalizing communities, but really ensuring that, one, there are resources being pumped into the community, information is being given to our communities, and more importantly, restorative justice measures, which is something that we really wanted to see for decades in our borough. So I want to thank you for your forward-thinking leadership, and once again for being a partner at every step of the way here since I've been Borough President. So thank you, and now I turn it over to Madam District Attorney Melinda Katz.
Hi everyone. So this was really Joe Connolly and Jerry Graves' thing, and I horned in. So I'm sorry for that, but I wanted to come by and see everybody. I also wanted to pay respects to Borough President Richards and the work that he does, and to give you a minute of an update on what's going on in the DA's office. I see a lot of you in the community. Just so you know, part of the reason that you see a lot of the assistant district attorneys in the community, like at your events, at your street fairs, at this or that tabling, is because since I've been the DA, as part of their responsibilities, the ADAs must go into the community. That is now part of their responsibility. You can't prosecute in a community you don't know. And so I believe that having them out there learning what's going on in the neighborhoods, and we get a lot of referrals from my people being out there. And so I want to thank all of you for welcoming them so much. Yesterday we had a press conference with Senator Gillibrand, all 5 DAs, and trying to close some loopholes in gun laws that are happening in the feds, you know, coming across state lines, the fact that if you have a protective order against you owning a gun, neither can your partner or your husband or wife, things of that nature. But gun violence is a huge issue, as you know, in your communities. I want you to know that citywide, murders are down 11%. They're down 50% in the Borough of Queens County. Shootings are down 25% in the city of New York. They are down 36% in Queens County. We are going after the guns. We are getting them off the street. We are going after the gangs. We're getting them in court, and we're prosecuting them. Ghost guns are a huge issue, which is one of the main reasons I wanted to come today, so that we can highlight for all of you. Ghost guns are being built all over the Borough of Queens County. They are being built in every community, in every neighborhood. They're being built in apartment buildings, in houses. They run the gamut of every socioeconomic income. They are easy to build. You can order parts online, and you can order a kit. And for a half-hour YouTube, you can also build a ghost gun. That ghost gun will not be traceable. It can be changed. It can be snuck into many of the places because they are made with polymer, which is a plastic. You should know that we are, out of the entire city of New York, ghost guns retrievals, we are at 30% of the entire city of New York are being retrieved right here in Queens County. And that's an important number because now 11% of the crimes where you find guns are actually ghost guns, not iron guns. So I want you just to know that background and facts before we start it off. As the Borough President said, we have a very large restorative justice group as well. We have the mental health courts, the veterans courts, the human trafficking courts, and we utilize them to the full extent that we can. As of last month, we have 102 convictions that I have vacated for wrongfully convicted, it turns out men, in that number, and it is still growing. No one should be in jail if they didn't commit the crime. And so that's really my update. I have the newsletter that's there. I don't want to take up too much time. I will end with this though. The 2 gentlemen here is Jerry Brave is the executive. He must be very important because he's the executive over all of investigations in the Borough of Queens County. And Joe Conley is our frauds. Lieutenant Colonel Joe Conley, I still like that, I'm sorry. Joe Conley is the chair of frauds. They're going to tell you all about scams. We've known each other a long time, a lot of us. So I'm going to end with 2 things. Grandparent scam is huge, and the DA's office scam is huge. Grandparent scam, grandma, grandpa, I'm in Florida, I can't see a judge until you send $10,000, can you do that? Who's not going to send their grandchildren money? Right? So don't do it. I'm not saying don't give your grandchildren money. I don't want to get 100 calls tomorrow. I'm just saying trust but verify. Second, this is Queens District Attorney Melinda Katz's office. We're investigating you. For $10,000, we will close the investigation and consider you paid in full. I will never ask you for money. I will never ask you for money. But I know how it goes. You get a call from law enforcement, and you're saying to yourself, I just saw Melinda, not the DA, Melinda, right? A few weeks ago, she was at Borough Hall. She's a nice girl. You know, I must be in trouble if she's investigating me. I better give them the money. Don't give them the money. It's not me. And you should make it clear to your constituency that if it ever happens, don't be embarrassed. Don't be worried about reporting it. They can call us. We will try to do everything we can to get their money back, and we often do, even if we can't find the defendant. But we will try and help them. It's nothing to be embarrassed about. This is what these guys do for a living. All right, you all know me. I've only gone down the block, cats@queensda.org, cats@queensda.org. Donna still works for me. I would like to thank Joe and Jerry for the work that they do. It's really the everyday scam stuff that's most important to people, and that's what they do every single day. So it's good seeing all of you. And I want to thank Frank for the work that he has done. Our offices were right next to each other for 6 years, and I still like him. And you know, he's meant a lot to the borough, he's meant a lot to the district, and he's been a lot to my family. You've watched their birds, you see them grow up, and I appreciate it. So, Borough President Richards, thank you.
Thank you. All right, any questions for the attorney?
I'm happy to answer questions. I'm leaving ADA Brave and ADA Conley. You all know how to reach me, I feel like, all the time.
Yeah. All right. No questions?
That one?
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
I'll leave it to you.
Thank you, Madam
Thank you
DA.
very much.
Thank you. And now we'll turn it over to our presenter.
Thanks, guys. Oh,
Yes, fine. Yes, well, you can stand. Yeah, it's fine.
Thank you, DA Katz, appreciate the time. Thank you to the Borough President for our invitation to be here today. My executive brave is here because they've given me a microphone. He knows how dangerous that is. So he's here to yank me away before you're here all afternoon. I do have a tendency to walk around and talk. It's probably just the trial attorney in me, so I'll try not to do too much of that. But thank you very much for the opportunity. I have a short PowerPoint, short by my standards, probably not by you after having listened to me, but included in the PowerPoint is also a short video about 3.5 minutes that I think is very illustrative of some of the technology problems that we're facing nowadays with developing scams and how fraudsters and scammers are really trying to get ahead of us using the latest technology. So if we could just, all right, there we go, perfect. So again, my name is Joseph Conley. I'll provide some contact information at the end of the presentation. If you have seen any of our presentations before, there will be some things that might look familiar, but I did adopt this to try to show some of the latest scams that are targeting our residents. And as the DA indicated, we do actually offer this training year-round. We've trained thousands of people this year already. I have a individual that works for me and the division chief. He goes out and he's a community coordinator, and that's his job, is to give the presentations. And we also have ADAs that are out in schools. They come to community board meetings. They come to local organization meetings. So if you're part of any organization and you'd like to have a presentation given, please feel free to reach out to me, or I'm going to volunteer Marlon, since he always volunteers me. And if you don't know Marlon, he's amazing, but he will definitely help you out in getting this presentation to any organizations. And it's open up to any kind of organization. We've given them in diners to 5 people, so any type, we're here to train. So the DA, I think, has really taken a very interesting approach to this, which is we can try to combat the crime as much as we can in the courtroom, but we're never going to win that war. The only way we're going to win the war is to prevent it, which is through this training, and that's why we're trying to get out as much of a word to stop some of this criminal activity. And hopefully there's some takeaways here. You can go back and tell your family members, your friends, and any organizations you're a part of. And like I said, we will be more than happy to provide additional training that's a little bit more in depth. So last year, what did we have? Nationwide, 2.5 million reports of fraud. 2.5 million people were defrauded in the United States of America. The important part of that statistic is that's just what was reported. That doesn't include all the people who were too embarrassed to report, which sadly, that does account for a large number of criminal instances that are just never reported, nor does it account for all the attempts. And what does an attempted scam look like? Well, how many times have you gotten a phone call on your cell phone for a car warranty, or someone wanting to talk to you about your bank, right? Those are all attempted crimes, believe it or not. A lot of us just hang up or don't even answer our cell phone. But there are people who are defrauded through each and every one of those phone calls. So those are all attempted crimes every time you see one of those happen on your cell phone. And it's interesting if you stop and think about it, right? You probably are sitting there right now going, what is he talking about? Well, you could have been the victim of a crime if you weren't smart enough to hang up your phone, or were lucky enough to hang up your phone, or just happened to miss that phone call. Because there's a lot of people who didn't understand that and picked it up, and now they're the victim of a crime. So I would venture to guess everybody in this room has probably been targeted for one of these crimes within the last week, if not within the last couple hours. My cell phone was ringing on the way here. So those 2.5 million people who were the victim of a crime, that was $8.9 billion they lost. $8.9 billion. That money is gone. Law enforcement has a very low probability of ever recovering those funds. We try very hard. We do our best. Time is of the essence, and I'll get through timing. Time is a very important key factor in these scams, so we'll go through and explain to you why time is not on your side. But if you do not report it quickly to us, that money is gone. It's not only just spent in this country, it's sent overseas. A large number of these scams are being perpetrated by organized criminal rings located in other countries, which means when you wire them money, that money is beyond the reach of any law enforcement, whether it's federal, state, or local. So it becomes very, very hard for us to recover any money. It doesn't mean we're not going to try, but expectation management for our victims of crime is important, and it's very hard for us to recover it. Sadly, for the last 2 decades or so, we've seen significant yearly increases in both the number of reported crimes and the amount of loss from those crimes. As I indicated, victims rarely recover their money, and elderly victims usually lose the most. So they're the most underreported. Usually a lot of that has to come down to shame and embarrassment. They don't want to admit that they were the victim of a crime, and they also lose the most money. So what did we have in New York State last year? Well, we had 108,000 reports of fraudulent activity just in the state alone. By far the largest number was imposter scams. We'll go through what imposter scams means, but basically that means somebody's calling you on the phone pretending to be somebody else, or sending you an email pretending to be from the IRS. So that's what imposter scams means. You'll see there's a lot of different types of criminal activity, fraudulent activity, more than I could go through today. We'd be here for a couple of days, and I think the borough president would appreciate my time at that point, but we will go through some of them. And as I indicated, if you want additional training for any of your organizations, please feel free to reach out, where we will go in more depth. So what are some of the emerging scams we're going to talk about today? Well, we have romance scams. As DA Katz indicated, we have grandparent jail bail scams. We'll talk a little bit about phone scams, some check scams, 'tis the season, charity scams, of course, and then deed fraud, which is becoming the bane of all of our existences, especially Executive Brave, who has to deal with this in almost every bureau he has. So what are romance scams? Has anybody not heard of romance scams before? No? Just a couple? Okay. So romance scams are pretty much what they sound like. You'll meet somebody online. This is all done through dating apps. There's a dating app for pretty much every type of person out there nowadays. So you'll meet somebody online. They'll be telling you how much they're interested in you, how great you are. Unfortunately, that person is probably a fraudster if you've never met them personally. All right? They can steal identities online. They take pictures from everywhere online, and they create fake profiles, and they will talk to you. There's a very common thread to these schemes, which is speed. And this is where I'm going to start introducing this concept. They will very quickly start talking to you and trying to isolate you from your friends and family. They will try to monopolize your time.
Continue. That's Jennifer Lopez?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay.
Love don't cost a thing. I try to keep it light during the presentations.
If J-Lo's calling in, probably a scam.
Yeah. Although, I can dream, right, Borough President? I can dream. So the common scheme will be speed. They will very quickly try to develop the relationship, because they know if you have time to investigate them, investigate the pictures they're sending you, investigating the backstory that they've tried to come up with, their lives may unravel, right? Because they've stolen pictures from the internet, they've stolen stories from the internet, so they will very quickly try to move into this intense relationship where it'll feel very, very intense. They will start professing love to you very quickly. And the reason for that speed is because very quickly they will start explaining to you how hard their life is, what issues they have. And then comes the ask. Now all of a sudden they need money. It could be money for a surgery, money for a loved one, money to get out of jail, money to send you gifts, right? We've seen a lot of things of, oh, I have all these gifts I want to send you, but I don't have money to pay the import taxes or the tariffs. If you just pay that tax, I can send you all these wonderful gifts because I love you so much. And because of that isolation that they've now cornered you to be by yourself and monopolizing all your time, and that feeling of specialness and love, people don't have that opportunity to stop and go, oh, wait a minute, should I talk to somebody about this? Because they're feeling very loved, they're feeling very isolated. So we have seen people lose millions of dollars through these romance scams. It's very sad because they're preying on people's basic desire to be loved, right? And all they're doing is financially manipulating them. So one of the common schemes to avoid here, this is the biggest red flag, is there will always be a reason why they cannot meet you. Always a reason. There's a few variations of the scam, but there could be a lot of different ways. But military is a huge one. They're always at some isolated military base far away, and they can't see you, they can't video chat. As DA Katz indicated, I'm a lieutenant colonel in the United States Army. I can tell you right now, a soldier can get in touch with you on video chat. There's no base where that's not possible in the United States of America or internationally. We have video chat for everybody. Making sure we can get in touch with our loved ones is a very important part of the United States military right now. So if someone's saying they can never get to a video chat, even if it's for 5 minutes, they're lying to you, and that's a scam. Okay? Another big one that we hear of is oil rig workers. I guess that's a very interesting one because that is somewhat hard to get to an oil rig out in the middle of the ocean. But you'll see oil rig workers, you'll see Alaskan pipeline workers. So basically what it is, the variation of the scam is always somebody who's in a very remote location that you can't get to them. But again, it comes down to they don't want to meet you, right? Because of whatever reason. But they're happy to receive your money because of whatever emergency they're facing. So those are immediate red flags. If you ever hear someone telling you about somebody they've met online who's in this remote location that they have to send money to, I promise you, call me up if I'm wrong, but I promise you, that is a scam. That person is getting scammed. And again, the speed is a factor, right? It's you can't come see me, I can't come see you, but please send me this money right now because of whatever reason I need that money. Those are all the hallmarks. Every scam we see for a romance scam has those same threads all the time. Another big one is they will ask you a lot of questions about yourself. They'll tell you some generic things about themselves, but really it's going to be a one-sided conversation. Tell me about your interests. Tell me about your day. How's your family doing? Where did you go today? Did you think about me? All things about getting you talking. The reason for that is they're not real. Their backstop, their make-believe life only goes so far. So they can't tell you too many details. The other sad reason of that is they're also probably engaging right now. As they're talking to you, they're probably also engaging with 10 to 20 other people. There are literally just farms of these data miners where they will sit behind 5 or 6 computers at a time with 40 or 50 people in a room trying to scam hundreds of people at a time. All right? It's just the way it goes. To them, it's a numbers game. All they need is 1 or 2 people out of thousands, and they can make hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. So that's why they're trying to engage as many people as possible. This is getting worse. Unfortunately, it's not getting better. Everybody's probably heard of ChatGPT and all these AI, artificial intelligence programs that are coming online. Now, the scammers automate this process. They don't even have to sit behind the computer anymore. They can automate the chatbots, to talk to you, to engage you. And then they can flag it when they've got somebody on the hook. So they can start the initial conversation that can go on for days without them even having to interact. So now instead of having to talk to maybe a couple dozen people a day, they can talk to thousands or millions in a day. So this problem is only getting worse. And we will go through, as I indicated, I'll try to show a quick video clip about how AI is making my life in particular worse at this point. So in addition to trying to steal money, what are scammers also always looking for? Information, right? They want personal information. So the more they can get about you, your date of birth, your address, your family's dates of birth, your family's addresses, things like that can all be used to data mine, to cultivate a picture of you so that they can now go surf the dark web, surf other parts of the internet to gather other pieces of information about you to eventually try to steal your bank account information, your social security numbers. So I strongly recommend, and especially since getting into doing white-collar crime, I personally do not post anything online. It drives me crazy when my friends and family post like happy birthday to me. I'm like, please remove that. I don't want anybody online to know when my birthday is. Work anniversaries, anything like that. My LinkedIn profile is very generic. I don't even keep a lot of information on there because data miners and data harvesters will look for all that information, and it can be very scary how they can put that together. As DA Katz indicated, there is the grandparent scam. The grandparent scam is just another variation of the AI scam, which I'll show you in a couple of slides. All that is somebody will get a phone call, and it's, you know, depending on who picks up the phone, whether it's a female or a male, it's grandma, grandpa, whoever it is, and then it sounds a little distorted. So all they'll hear is, Johnny? Johnny, is that you? Well, now you've just told the fraudster what? The name. So now, of course, they're going to be, yeah, it's me, Johnny. Sorry, the phone connection's bad. I was in a horrible car accident. I really hurt somebody. They're going to put me in jail if you don't send me $10,000. I need the money immediately. Hold on, my attorney will get on the phone. Now, you don't want to talk to Johnny too long because you might understand that it's not Johnny, right? So now the attorney gets on, or the police officer gets on. Says, oh, your grandson's in a lot of trouble. Johnny, you know, killed somebody. There was a baby in the car. $10,000 is needed right now, or else he's going to be put in prison. We'll send somebody to your house in an hour. Please have the money ready. Happens all day long. We get these phone calls all day long. People fall for this scam, and it's costing hundreds of thousands of dollars a week in losses to people right here in Queens County. There's a huge ring that was just operating out of the Dominican Republic. The federal government, luckily with a lot of our assistance, just brought that specific ring down. Unfortunately, that's just one ring. The scary part of that is they show up at your house because they ask for the address. So now this isn't just some remote scam like the romance scam. They're actually showing up to your house, so they have your address. So you get a random person showing up demanding that $10,000 because you think your grandson killed somebody in a car accident and is going to jail. So that can be very scary for people. And we've had a great relationship with the NYPD. We've worked with some other district attorneys throughout the county, throughout the city, and we've had some great results. But again, it's a very easy scam to perpetrate because it can be done remotely from anywhere with just some local couriers that they hire for a couple $100 to show up and get this money. So this is a huge scam. One of the recommendations that we have is if you believe that you have family members who may be in need on an urgent basis, to maybe work out a private code word that only you and them would know. Otherwise, as I tell my family members, good luck getting money out of me. I will never wire you money. I will never send you a gift card. If you want cash, you better show up in person to my house with a good reason. But I will never be wiring anybody money. Again, this scam, like the romance scam and all scams, relies on speed. They do not want you calling Johnny, your grandson, because you will find out that Johnny's perfectly fine somewhere. They don't want you calling Johnny's parents, okay? So very quickly, they will try to move you to get that money. Very quickly, they will show up at your house to get that money from you. So the common theme, I cannot emphasize this enough, is always speed. The best way to combat scammers is just to slow down. Before I give $1 over to anybody, I'm doing research, I'm thinking about it, I'm taking a couple days, drives my family nuts, but it just is what it is. Do not part with your hard-earned money quickly. There's no reason to. The court system does not work like that. As DA Katz indicated, we do not call and demand money, ever. There's no criminal justice system, in the United States of America that will allow you to wire them money. That is a scam, okay? You cannot do that. So if anybody's asking for money to be sent quickly, that is an immediate red flag and 100% of a scam. So phone scams. As I indicated at the beginning of the presentation, car warranties, right? Everybody probably has received that at some point. Those are all scams, so please do not sign up for those. If your bank is calling you, asking you to verify your account, that is a scam, okay? Your bank does not need you to verify your information. They already have it. So why do you need to give it back to them? Right? Think about it that way. If they already have your information, why are they calling you to verify it? Just common sense doesn't kick in there. So never give out information over the phone to somebody who has called you. If somebody calls you and says, this is a common scheme also, they'll call you and say, there's been a problem with your bank account, please call us back at this number. Do not call them back at that number. Go online, flip over the back of your credit card or your debit card, look for a legitimate number for your bank or financial institution. Do not trust the person who gave you the phone number, because again, they're giving you a phone number to call them back, all right? So those are very common schemes that we're seeing. We get those phone calls every day. Last year, my bureau got just about 600 reports of criminal activity and scams. That is only from Queens County residents. That was for 1 year. That's for one bureau. The division chief has 7 bureaus under him, so you can imagine how many scams his division gets. But we are, my bureau gets the most, and it's almost 600 just for 1 year. So it's very scary. And again, that's not including the NYPD. Those are just the people who were able to find our office and our bureau and call us. We see a large number of government imposter scams. You'll see the IRS scam. There's a new one going around right now that's very topical, where the IRS will call you saying, oh, we have a refund we want to give you. We just need to verify your information. Who doesn't want free money? Right? The IRS is calling to give me money? It's about time, right? They got 10 grand. You can have whatever information for me you want. I want my $10,000. That is a scam. The IRS does not call people. They send you very nasty letters, but they do not call you. Okay? They also do not email you. Again, you will receive a nasty letter. Okay? So if you're getting an email saying click this link, and they want your social security number, they want your address, they want your date of birth, they want your bank account information, because we'll wire you the money. That's all a scam. Do not do that. Okay? You have now given them everything they need to empty your bank account. Another variation of that scam is the Social Security Administration. That's been around for a little while, but it's the same exact scam. We need to verify your Social Security number so that your benefits don't get cut off. Well, that can sound scary, especially to our elderly population. They don't want their benefits cut off, so whatever information I need to give you, please don't cut off my benefits. That is not how the Social Security Administration works. Okay? Please, if you receive one of these government imposter phone calls or emails, call the government agency directly. You can go on their website. They will give you the phone numbers. They will give you legitimate email addresses if you cannot use a phone. They will give you ways to contact them that are not them initiating the contact. That is the most important thing here. These agencies will not reach out in a manner that I'm describing here. So if we can load up this YouTube video, this is about short, it's 3.5 minutes. The video's longer, but I'll end it at 3.5 minutes. This is about artificial intelligence and what we're seeing developing. So if you've not seen this before, it's kind of scary to think how AI can manipulate voices into tricking family members into thinking that their family members are in distress.
Buddy, both you and your daughter are dead.
Warning of close encounters with scammers who used artificial intelligence to clone her daughter's voice.
Yeah, this is crazy. They actually made her believe they had kidnapped her 15-year-old, and then they demanded a ransom. So, as On Your Side Susan Campbell found out, this is crazy. It doesn't take much of a voice sample to pull this scam off. This is so frightening to hear.
It really is. This truly terrified this mom, and this technology is actually improving so quickly. You really only need seconds of a voice sample to get pretty close to someone's real voice. The phone number was unfamiliar. Jennifer DeStefano almost let it go to voicemail. But her 15-year-old was out of town skiing. Maybe there had been an accident.
I pick up the phone and I hear my daughter's voice, and it says, Mom, and she's sobbing. And I ask, what happened? And she's like, Mom, I messed up. And she's sobbing and crying. And then I hear a man's voice say, put your head back, lie down. And then I'm like, wait, what's going on? And this man gets on the phone and he's like, listen here, I've got your daughter. This is how it's going to go down. You call the police. You call anybody. I'm going to pop her stomach so full of drugs. I'm going to have my way with her. I'm going to drop her off in Mexico. And at that moment, I start shaking. I'm like, what? In the background, she's going, help me, Mom, please, help me, and falling.
And you have absolutely no doubt in your mind that that was her voice.
Oh, 100% her voice. 100% her voice. It was never a question of, you know, who is this? Or it was completely her voice. It was her inflection. It was the way she would have cried. I never doubted for 1 second it was her. That's the freaky part that really got me to my core.
But the 15-year-old never said any of it. It was just a clone created by artificial intelligence.
You can no longer trust your ears.
Subharal Kamampati is a computer science professor at Arizona State who specializes in AI. He says voice cloning technology is rapidly improving.
Now there are ways in which you can do this with just 3 seconds of your voice. So with the 3 seconds, you can come extremely close to how exactly you sound.
And you don't even need any special equipment. I chose a free program for a test, and I'm not actually talking.
It's a new toy, and and I think there could be great good uses, but certainly they can be pretty worrisome users too.
You got to slow down and diffuse the situation.
The FBI's Dan Mayo says scammers who use voice cloning often find their prey on social media.
They're going to be looking for public profiles that have as much information as possible on you. And when they get a hold of that, they're going to dig into you.
The Federal Trade Commission says scammers will often ask their victims to wire money, send cryptocurrency, or pay the ransom with gift cards. Once the money is gone, it's almost impossible to get it back.
The phone number's coming from an area code that you're not familiar with, that should be one red flag. Second red flag, international numbers, sometimes they will call from those as well. Third red flag, they will not allow you to get off the phone and talk to your significant other, right? That's a problem.
The person who had supposedly kidnapped Jennifer's daughter demanded money. He started at $1 million.
I was like, that I don't have $1 million. I'm like, fine, whatever, start my daughter. Then he wants $50,000.
Jennifer kept him talking. She was at her other daughter's dance studio, surrounded by worried moms who wanted to help. One called 911. Another called Jennifer's husband. Within just 4 minutes, they confirmed her daughter was safe.
She was upstairs in her room going, what? What's going on?
What's going through your mind that second?
Then I get angry, obviously, with these guys because this is not something you play around with.
Wave of relief, though, I'm sure.
I literally sat down and just broke down crying.
Tears for all of the what-ifs. The fear, the relief. It all just seemed so real.
So you can see how scary the technology is, but it's the same common schemes that we talked about earlier, right? Speed. You heard the FBI agent say, the scammers have to move very quickly. Imagine going from $1 million ransom to $50,000 that quickly. That's showing you how desperate they are to move the situation along. Now, 3 seconds of audio is all it took for them to clone their daughter's voice and have enough of a sample to get them to think that she was kidnapped. If you wanted to go online and see any of this stuff further, you can see that it's very easy to manipulate public figures. If you give enough speeches online, they have speeches of President Biden, former President Trump, Secretary Clinton, out there giving speeches that they never gave. And they look very authentic. The voices sound perfect, but even when you look at the person on the screen, you're like, that looks like they're actually giving that speech. So that's where the technology is coming, and that technology has been around for a little while, but the development of it is only within the last year or so. So imagine where we're going to be a year from now. So again, speed. They're going to move very quickly. If you slow it down, that's the best weapon you have to defend yourselves. Check washing. If you're still mailing checks, please use a gel pen. If you're still mailing checks and you can avoid mailing checks, please stop mailing checks. Mail theft is a huge problem. Mail theft is a huge problem here in Queens County. All of the drop boxes that you see on the streets, they're being targeted. There's criminal gangs and organized groups that are going into those mailboxes. They have master keys. Sometimes they're just breaking the boxes open. They're stealing the mail. And out of the thousands of pieces of mail that they are looking for, all they need to find is a couple of checks. And then they take the checks and they use a chemical solution to literally wash the check. And they take off the payee information and the amount. And they change it to something beneficial to them, and they increase the amount significantly. Right? This is not a substance, the chemicals that they use are not hard to get. It's nail polish remover. They use a solution of nail polish remover or bleach mixed with some other chemicals. So it's very readily available. It takes a very short amount of time. And then if you have not used a gel type pen, that all comes off and they just write whatever information they want on there. So your $120 gas bill that you're sending in could very quickly turn into a $9,000 cash payment to themselves. This happens all day long. So we are encouraging people as much as you can to avoid sending checks in the mail unless you're going to the actual post office. So if you're using those drop boxes for checks, please be very, very cautious. If you have to mail a check, try to go to the post office. Again, use gel inks, and then monitor your bank accounts. It happens to people all day long where they'll look at a statement from 4 months ago and go, oh my God, I'm missing hundreds of dollars, or I'm missing thousands of dollars. Unfortunately, that money is usually gone because of the amount of time. The banks are less than willing to reimburse the individual, especially because their signature is still on the check. So the bank says, but that's your actual signature. It's not a fraudulent signature, so why should we be on the hook? So it gets to be very hard for people to recover their money in these situations. So again, the two biggest caveats would be please try to pay your bills online or go directly to the post office to drop your mail if you have to mail a check. Charity scams. Everybody's in the giving mood right now. Please avoid charity scams. There was a very popular one in the city years ago. If everybody saw the WHO people all over Manhattan, they had literally just tubs that they would set up everywhere. Outside Penn Station was a big area. But if you think back a couple of years ago, you'll remember, oh, I saw it was the same groups of people always out there collecting for this organization. That was actually a complete scam. That had no affiliation with an actual charity. It was all a scam. So you'll see different types of scams like that. They're very easy to organize because you can just throw any name on there. There was a popular one years ago for a animal abuse one that you'd see all those little tin cans on like deli counters and bagel stores and everything. That also was a scam. So people were dropping change in there, and then people combined. You had all these poor business owners that were like, but I was just trying to do the right thing. I didn't know that was a scam. If you're going to give money as a charitable donation, please follow DA Katz's advice. Trust, but verify. There are ways to verify charities. The IRS has a website where they will tell you if somebody is a registered charity with the IRS. The New York State Attorney General's office also has a website where they will tell you if they are a registered charity here in New York. There are also third-party websites that will rate charities. CharityStar.org, I think it's called, but you can go online and use a Google-type search engine to find third-party raters of charities. I strongly encourage those because in addition to finding out if a charity is legitimate, you will also find out where your money's going. Because there are some charities that are better than that at others. And unfortunately, for a charity to be determined to be legitimate under the law, only a very small percentage of your donations actually have to go to any charitable benefit. The rest can go to pay the salaries of people who work for the charity. So you'll see some charities where 3/4 to 80% of the money that you donated, that's 80 cents for every dollar, go just to pay salaries of the executives who run the charity. And unfortunately, under the law, that's still determined to be a legitimate charity. So that's why you can use some of these third-party websites to determine where your money might be best used for charities that maybe get that money to where it should be instead. Again, for charity, speed is key. You might get a solicited phone call, it might get stopped on the street, where they want your money right then and now. Legitimate charities don't work that way. A legitimate charity is happy to take your money anytime they can get it. Any time of the year. So if you're getting pressured to give money right then and there, that's a huge red flag. And as you've heard throughout this presentation, and you will continue to hear throughout this presentation, do not wire money to people, and please do not give gift cards to people that are asking you for payment that way. If you're giving a gift card to somebody through the holidays because it's a loved one or a friend or a colleague, that's fine. But if somebody's demanding payment for whatever reason or requesting payment via gift card or wire transfer of money, that should be a huge red flag that it's a scam. So please avoid doing that. Gift cards are the bane of my existence because that money is gone immediately. So scammers love them because the gift card could be spent anywhere. You call a scammer with a gift card, they're sitting in an Apple store right there with the number, and that money is gone immediately. So gift cards are very, very hard for us to ever recover money on. Deed fraud. Deed fraud is exploding in the city of New York. If you are a homeowner, if you have any type of property interest in the city of New York, please, just in case you didn't hear me the first two times, please register your property with ACRIS so that they will send you alerts if there is any change to your deed. I cannot emphasize that enough. We are seeing an explosion in deed fraud where people are going and fraudulently transferring deeds from homeowners without them ever knowing it. It is creating a huge problem. People who have lived in their houses for 50, 60, 70 years are losing their properties because of these fraudsters. It is a very complicated crime. It is very hard for us to investigate. It takes years usually. So the best way to combat this is to go on the ACRIS website, which is run by the City of New York, and register your property. They will send you an alert if there is ever a change to your deed. Some other warning signs that you should be on the lookout for is if you stop receiving mail at your address, or you start receiving mail in other people's names. Those can be warning signs that somebody has changed your deed. So please be on the lookout for that. So how to avoid being a victim? What was the common theme that Joe Conley stood up here this morning and took all of your precious time and said? What's the one thing you want to be on the lookout for? Somebody said that, I heard it. Speed. Speed, right? If somebody's trying to get your money from you very quickly, that is a problem. That should be a huge red flag. Okay, the government does not demand money immediately. So if it's a government agency, whether it's somebody that you love is being threatened with jail, or was in an accident, or the IRS, or the Social Security Administration, or DA Katz, we do not demand the money immediately. So that is a huge red flag, okay? Never send anybody money if they're saying that you have to keep that fact from your friends or family members or loved ones, all right? That is, again, a huge red flag. Never give anyone access to your bank account information. It is not required, and you should not do it. If somebody is asking to be a joint account holder with you, please be very, very careful in doing that. Making somebody a joint account holder makes them an equal owner of everything in that account, meaning they have as much of a right to it as you do. It is no longer your money, it is both of your money. So if they take all of it on you, there is nothing illegal about that. So please be careful about that. Never sign a document that you have not had time to read. If you do not explain it, get somebody else, an impartial person, to explain it to you, not the person who is asking you to sign it. And of course, do not click attachments in emails, and try not to accept calls from numbers that you do not know. As I indicated, we are here. We are happy to provide training to any groups or organizations that may request it. This presentation is a little bit more in depth when we do it with more time, even though I do apologize, Borough President, I took up a lot of your time, I apologize. But we do offer that, so you can get in touch with us either through myself or Marlon. You can give us a call at our Elder Fraud Unit, which is 6578. We'd be happy to coordinate any presentations. If you are the victim of a crime, we have a Consumer Frauds Hotline, which is 718-286-6673. You can go to the local NYPD, or the federal government has some resources for you. Borough President, thank you very much for your time today. We appreciate all that you do for us in the County of Queens. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Chief Conley. All right, we'll open it up for questions. Any questions?
Just one question.
And please use your mic. That's what the purpose is.
Okay. Oh, sorry.
One live stream.
Thank you. Matt Simmons from the Parks Department. Pertaining to mail, that would be deed fraud. Why would you stop receiving mail at that location? I mean, if people are still sending it to you, why would you stop? I mean, is that something with the Postal Service? I'm just curious about that.
Yes, so it's something with the Postal Service. You're no longer the owner of the property, so they will contact the Postal Service and have your mail stopped for that address. You know, it's just one of the steps they'll take. Usually the first indicator is you will start receiving mail in other people's names. That's usually the first thing that happens, which is a huge red flag. It makes me nervous every time I sometimes it's just my mailman dropped it in the wrong slot, but I'm like still freaking out just because of everything I know. I don't sleep very well at night. But that's usually the first indicator.
Good morning. Please excuse my voice. I witnessed this weekend. I have a member of the board who's 94 years old, and his phone rang every 5 minutes with scammers calling, asking for information. Are there any programs or anything that can protect our seniors? I explained to him that he should not say yes, and more importantly, not even to answer the phone. I mean, his phone was ringing off the hook every 5 minutes. Seniors tend to answer the phone because, you know, they don't get phone calls a lot. They don't get visitors a lot. So they welcome the calls, but they are, in doing so, they put themselves in danger. Is there anything that that can be done to assist seniors in these circumstances?
I wish I had a better answer, but unfortunately, no. The do not call registry, scammers aren't going to follow that. So they share phone numbers. Usually they're one scammer is trying to run several different scams at a time. So once they have your phone number and they know that somebody's willing to pick it up, they'll just try every scam that they're running, and they're all different phone numbers that are calling. So education is what we found to be the best, which is we're trying to get out there, we're trying to educate people the most we can. And as one of the biggest things we say is don't pick up the phone if you don't recognize the phone number. You know, they'll leave you a voicemail and then you can call them back. But unfortunately, we're losing that battle. And there's really, because of the ease of registering new phone numbers, not much we're able to do about it.
Yeah, I would say really quickly that your providers, if you call your providers, they have a scam detector where you can have them work with you on like eliminating scam calls. So that's something that's an option.
And if it's a cell phone, I would say
Cell
it's an option to block as well.
Yeah.
But and they'll change the last digit.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've had to do it in the past, and then finally I was alleviated.
Thank you.
Debbie.
You mentioned, thank you for your presentation, it's terrific. And we always need to be reminded of scams because we all get them. Like you said, phones, cells, text, message. Facebook seems to be a big problem now. There's got to be a way to reach Facebook because I've been cloned and I had someone help me that was very savvy. So they were able to retrieve my email back and get me back on track and shut it down. But I could not do that on my own. I needed a professional to do that. Is there a way to contact Facebook to let them know legitimate people versus illegitimate people? And the fact that they're cloning it and going into Instagram and other things, I'm not someone that posts my information, but I am honest, so I put my birthday out there, whatever. When I asked you, I should have done someone else's, but whatever. But is there a way to protect yourself? Otherwise, Facebook needs to be contacted to shut things down, because they are very big with that problem.
There is a way to contact Facebook. They are, I've heard varying degrees of success. I can tell you that an identity theft issue usually takes, I think the last statistic I heard was somewhere in the order, in the amount of 250 hours to correct, and costs around $15,000 to $20,000 in either expenses or lost time. So identity theft is a huge problem. Usually what happens in contacting Facebook is it takes perseverance. And I'm not singling them out, that could be any social media company. The first time you contact them, they're not always very responsive. So it takes a lot of perseverance to get that done. But they are private companies, so they have their own rules and regulations that they follow, and there's not a lot that we can do. If it's a verified identity theft crime that we've been able to investigate, there may be some steps that we can help, but a lot of times, like you indicated, it's just somebody who has a profile that is being used for other purposes that we can't tie to a crime, and there's not a lot that we can do to help at that point in time.
And they do have the report issue function,
Yes.
but what I notice is a lot of people who endure this, they'll have their friends also contacted,
Right.
and they'll
Right.
just inbox you. So I've seen varying degrees of success.
And
on
just
this
to
as well.
mention that here, our CB2 Twitter account, our Twitter account was stolen from our government ID, our government email address. And we were kind of able to help shut some of it down because we did a lot of investigation from the city. But it is prevalent, and it is prevalent as well with government emails as well. So.
And I don't want to say this for the general public because I don't want a million calls here, but if you endure that as a community board, you can get in touch with us. We know how to get in touch with Facebook as well and Instagram and others. So we do have the right ones. Don't call the borough president's office all day. We don't got the resources to do this all day. So support the issue. Love y'all though. Call the DA's office. They got a lot more staff.
Watch out, Joe.
I already got a call, so
All right, any other comments, questions, or concerns? All right, well, thank you for your presentation. I'm also joined by agencies, so one of the things we heard, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Happy holidays. from all of you, especially Marie, that we wanted to make sure we had agencies prevalent when we do these. So today we have the Department of Youth and Community Development, Department of Buildings, DDC, DOT, DIFTA, DEP, FE&Y. Welcome all of you. And Marcel. Wow, welcome back. Any questions, comments, or concerns, or if any of the agencies want to give updates, you're more than welcome. All righty. Oh, my former intern, the City Council. So proud of you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Yesterday was a very busy day in terms of Department of Buildings. A lot of your constituents started to call because they got one of these.
Oh yes, I got an email from CV14.
A lot of your constituents, because they got one of these postcards that highlighted all their violations.
Oh, you probably press the button. Just watch the button.
Thank you. Hello? Yeah. So, a lot of people got a lot of these postcards detailing all their violations. Now, the issue was some of these people are coming saying that, wait, I submitted my certificate of corrections, why do I got it? Or, as CBA District Manager always, Marie says, they think because they paid it, that's the issue is over. No, that's not. You still have to correct the violating condition. For anyone that has think they submitted a certificate of correction, please have them submit you any acknowledgement or proof from us saying that we received it. And if they don't, please have them file one. I have all the paperwork here. I'm going to pass it around so you can see what it looks like when anyone brings the issue saying they got the postcard. So that is the only updates that I have. It's the only updates that I have. I actually know one more update. It's local law 52, the gas update for all the buildings that are now receiving electric, have to be electric. I've received a lot of questions from constituents seeing what, if they live in older buildings, what has to be, what about their building? You just have to prove that you have an existing gas line. If you live in an older building, you can prove you have an existing gas line, you'll be fine. You won't have to comply to the new rules. That's the only department building updates I have. Thank you very much.
Whoa, so proud of you. Congratulations, DYCD.
Hey, good morning. Good to see you, Borough President, in person for a change, and good to see all district managers. I'm very pleased to introduce you to Assistant Commissioner Jessica Vides-Hernandez, who's going to actually head up a new borough-based model that the Commissioner's vision to get us more access to the community. Jessica?
Sure. Thank you and good morning. Thank you for the invite. So Commissioner Howard is, as you know, DYCD is invested in our 5 boroughs. And one of the ideas that Commissioner Howard has is to make sure that we're all engaging in the community. So he's assigned borough managers to each of our communities, and you'll be seeing a lot more of them in your meetings, in events, and just around the community to make sure that they're having that human contact that we're looking for, and being able to have conversations and listen up on like what are those issues that are happening, what's going on, and bringing them back not only to DYCD but to the programs that we fund throughout the city. So we're very happy about that, and if you probably have seen some of them, but for Queens, David Aguiaro, he actually used to work for Kathy Nolan, yeah, and he's a resident of Queens, and he's very invested in Queens. And so then you'll be seeing a lot more of him and myself, because I'm also a resident of Queens, and we want to make sure that we're present. In addition to that, we also wanted to let you know that since January, many of you know, DYCD has now is responsible for the CMS, the Crisis Management Services, right? Under those contracts, we have cure violence contracts. These are contracts of providers that are out in the community whenever there's violence, and you know, it was mentioned before, the issue with the violence, gun violence. If there's a shooting, there are actually our providers and out there are credible messengers that are out there to try to de-escalate kind of like the situation. So One of the ways that we have been working to integrate these new providers for DYCD into the community, we've had phases of meetings, phase 1, 2, and 3. Those meetings are to make sure that we learn from them and they learn from us within our providers, building those networks within our after-school programs, within our immigrant services, all the programs that we fund at DYCD, as well as making sure that we are now engaging with the community as one DYCD. So we invite you for Far Rockaway on December 13th. We're having a phase 2 meeting where we're actually having the CMS provider that's there. The CMS provider is Wheels Against Guns, right? And they will be there, and then they will be meeting and networking with the other community-based organizations in Far Rockaway to be able to kind of mix and mingle, get to know each other, and then after that we'll have a resource fair for the community. So we invite you to that if you're interested, and moving forward we'll have more information on that. So thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, we'll go to DDC.
Hi.
Hey.
Good morning, everyone. Ari Gershman. Good morning, everyone. Ari Gershman, New York City Department of Design and Construction. No specific update, but anyone has any question, we're happy to address it. The work continues to go on throughout the city, infrastructure work, public buildings, libraries, working on this building here and also at the district attorney's office. So lots of work going on all across the borough. Some of the work will stop or slow down during the winter based on the weather. Outdoor work with concrete cannot be poured in the cold, but other than that, the work continues.
When are the steps going to be finished?
By the end of next year.
By the end of next year?
I believe so. I can get an update for you.
Hope so. Okay. All righty. By the end of this year, you mean, or next year?
I mean next year.
Just pour the concrete myself. All right. Maria. No, Maria.
Okay, I know that we don't have sanitation here, but one of my concerns is the center medians, the ones that are DOT and sanitation responsibility. And some of these medians have trees, and they have tree pits, and they have weeds that grow, and sanitation needs to do a better job. I know they don't have the funds and everything, but especially, not right now, but thinking about spring, when we start getting all that rain, they're gonna look terrible. So they can't wait for us or for the residents to call them for 2 months before they actually come and do something. They have to do preventive measures. Maybe there are some other plants that they can put in there that can grow and that don't need much maintenance, but they are awful. The residents are complaining to me. Yes, ultimately they get to them, but if I have to call in September to finally get something done a month or a month and a half later, it's not right.
So we will have more news on that in a few days. We are finalizing our talk to many of you earlier in the year about us compiling lists of medians, and I pre-warned the commissioner that we're going to issue some sort of report. It's not going to be pretty about the way they're not cleaning these. So we are just wrapping up. It is for public consumption at this point. And we will have more to say about this. Not that we're trying to shame any agency, but the issue is we've been having the same conversation since I was in the city council, and it's about time that they change this system. And Parks actually does maintain theirs because they have the green streak, so I consistently see them doing it. And so sometimes we have issues, but I would say Parks Department for the most part is more consistent. With sanitation, I agree with you, and I've said this to the commissioner. It shouldn't take us. Your folks are out there picking up garbage every day. If you see something, say something. Clean it. You know, so we will have more to say about that in a few days.
Hi again, Matt Simmons from Parks. I'm
sorry to cut you off, and if you have locations, please get them to Tim immediately because we're ready to launch something.
I feel funny speaking through a microphone to the person sitting next to me. If you do know that these are not Parks Department, I mean, you're aware of the ownership of it. Okay, because once you start talking about tree pits, you start getting into maybe where it is parked, so we may want to speak further about that in addition.
For example, Hillside Avenue, many moons ago when there was some federal funding for former Board President Helen Marshall wanted to do beautification of Hillside Avenue. And then those medians ended up having tree pits with a tree in it. But it doesn't have enough grass for it to be your responsibility. So it is sanitation's responsibility. But around those tree pits, it's just terrible. And I get very jealous when I go to Long Island and I see how beautiful their medians are. And I come to Queens and I'm very upset because I'm very competitive. And I want our borough to look, even better than theirs.
Don't get jealous of Long Island. They moving back over here. All right. All right. We're going to now go to Department of Transportation.
Good morning, everyone. Craig Chin, Department of Transportation. So last month, we had a public hearing on our dining out program. The public hearing, a lot of people registered to speak. We've received hundreds of comments online. So we're in the process of finalizing the rules for the outdoor dining. And we'll look to come early next year with the finalized rules and reach out to the restaurants to get them enrolled in the new program. Also, last week, the mayor announced with Commissioner Rodriguez that we will be making intersection improvements to 1,000 locations citywide. So if the boards have locations that haven't met the traffic control or stop sign warrant, we could look at making the intersection safer by putting in daylighting.
Thank you. Now go to Tiff.
Good morning, everyone. Joining on from NYC Aging. So I don't have an update, but I do have a reminder that the open enrollment for Medicare is ending on December 7th, which is this Thursday. So if you have any constituent that they want to change their Medicare drug plan as it's last minute, they can, or have a question, they can call our Aging Connect hotline and talk to someone from the HICAP program. The number is 212-244-6469. The number again is 212-244-6469.
DEP.
Hi everybody, this is Tommy Lund from DEP. I just have one update. I know a couple folks with elected officials and community boards reached out in regards to our flood barriers or our hydrant barriers. Just wanted to let you guys know we put in another order for it. With our ordering folks, we're waiting on a response from them for our purchase order. So as soon as we get that, we'll be able to know how many flood barriers or hydrant barriers we're able to give out. I know we did an event with the Borough President. We did some with some elected officials, so we'll get back to you on that. And that's my only update, and I wish you guys all a happy holiday.
Thank you. FDNY.
Good morning, everyone. Leticia Williams, FDNY Community Affairs. The only update that I have with regards to restaurants, the fire department has created a webpage to support restaurants seeking assistance with permits. So what I will do is when I get back to the office, I will email every borough manager the webpage, the information and the link so that they can apply it to their newsletter as well as the borough president's office. In addition to that, it's our holiday season. Federal fires, it's an uptick specifically with the borough of Bronx and Manhattan. So far, Queens, we're trying to get ahead of this, but we're continuing to admonish all of our partners and constituents to please disseminate our messaging in your newsletters or on your website as it pertains to fire safety. All of our publications can be You can get them off of our website, which is fdnysmart.org. We are continuing our presentations in person as well as virtually. So if interested, please send me an email so that I can help coordinate that with you with the fire safety department. Anything outside of fire safety related issues, if it's permitting, if it's sprinkler systems, anything pertaining to the fire department, you can give me a call or email me and I will help you and catch you to the appropriate department. Everyone have a great and safe holiday.
Thank you. All right, we'll go to Parks.
Thank you for the third time, I think, Matt Simmons from the Parks Department. I actually would like, if I can, Mr. Borough President, if I can be invited in the future to make a brief presentation on what I'm about to say, probably shorter than Mr. Conley's, hopefully much less terrifying than Mr. Conley's presentation. But what we are doing right now, the Parks Department is trying to engage a record number of volunteers throughout the city. It's called Let's Green NYC. And we're looking to connect potential volunteers with projects and connect groups with potential volunteers. So there's a website, there are QR codes, so if I can, it would be just for a couple of minutes just to give a brief PowerPoint presentation on that, if I would be allowed to do that in the future. And but no other specific updates, obviously. As I look around, people have specific questions from the various community boards. I can try to do my best to answer them now or get an answer for you moving forward.
Thank you. And can we get an updated tree trimming schedule? Where are we at?
I definitely do not have that information on hand, but I believe that we were here last week for the tree at Borough Hall, but I will check on that.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Any questions, comments, concerns? Any agencies? I think y'all must be doing all right. No questions.
One thing I forgot to mention. Thank you. One thing I forgot to mention, but I would like to share. We are hosting a special fair in Rockaway, at the Rockaway YMCA, next week on Thursday the 14th at 12 noon. The parks maintenance facility in Rockaway is being rebuilt, and in order to hopefully engage local firms and local participants for that project, we're going to have a community event next Thursday at 12 noon at the Rockaway YMCA.
You could thank me for that.
We do. The whole neighborhood.
That's over federal money, baby. All right. All righty, see no other comments, questions, or concerns. I want to turn it over, and once again, I really want to thank Frank Deluzio for all that he's done. It feels like almost 20 years at this point. I just made 20 years in government. Don't tell the council members that, because now I'm the old guy in the room, according to them. But the bottom line is I just want to thank you for your advocacy, for your counsel, for your leadership, for truly being a friend, not just to me, but to the entire borough, and I'm sure to many of the DMs. Thank you always for your sense of humor, too, that you always bring as well, and we will miss you, but we know you're not going to go that far. We'll still see you around the way. But I just wanted to personally say thank you. I'll be at your board meeting this week just to say thank you in person. Well, tomorrow. So God bless you. Thank you, and Godspeed.
Thank you. I got a text this morning when I was driving in from a buddy of mine. He said, "We're going to cry like Jonathan."
I said I might cry.
Is that what you meant? I did with the CABINETTuesday too.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I've let some know this guy since he worked for then Councilman Sanders, State Senator Sanders. So we've gone back a long time, wearing a couple of different hats also. But now that he's the VP, you said you were proud of your intern. I'm so proud that I know you and that you've come up from just starting out in government. It's just amazing. I'm honored and proud to say I worked for you. I really am. And I'm honored and proud to say that my fellow DMs, I have learned so much from them that it's unbelievable. I don't even have words that can explain how much I've learned from everybody, from our little silly meetings to our serious meetings. The agencies, to me, Tish, there's just so much I can say about her. But people moan and groan about government. But let me tell you, they should only know what we really do to make our world a better place. Up until the other day, Gary sent me something, and he said, let's talk about this. Well, I'll still talk, but I won't be in this chair. That's okay. As the VP said, I'm not going very far. I want to burn out, not fade out like Jonathan said. His ear's supposed to be ringing right now. But there aren't many people that can say they like and love their job and have worked with so many good people. Good people, dynamite people, who only want the best. I'm thanking New York City for my pension. What else can I say? Thank you for the kind words. I've gotten all kinds of texts and telegrams, et cetera, et cetera. I really will miss being involved, but I won't be very far. That much I can tell you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We'll open the floor up. Floor up if anyone.
Oh, come on, nobody's gonna say anything? Frank Lucia.
I just want to say to you, I sent an email to you, but from day one you have welcomed me. Your sense of humor and your love for the youth as well as your community. But more importantly, like you said, you find very few people who love what they do. And even when the job gets strenuous or frustrating, the purpose that is in it keeps you going. And you have certainly been one. I love you. I love all 14. But Queens is the best borough. I'll be honest with you, and I live in Brooklyn, but I'm from Queens, but Queens is the best borough because, you know, you guys are active, but that's another topic. But you have really been a pleasure to work with. I honor you. I do. I honor you. I honor you. And I'm so excited for your future. Get some good rest and enjoy your days. Enjoy your days. I'm not going to say you're going to be sorely missed because you're going to be around. So we'll see you. And great favor and blessings for everything that is ahead of you. I can say that I love you, Frank.
Don't start, Jake.
Well, one good thing about you leaving is I'll be the best looking Italian in the area. So I'm glad about that. So I start my day with a cup of coffee and a phone call to Frank. We talk every day. My wife is jealous of Frank. But I will miss him. I know Frank for over 20-something years. In my government experience, he's a dear friend. His wisdom and his advice will be missed, but I know he's only a phone call away, so I look forward to going to Florida with you, Frank. You never invited me there yet, but maybe spending a lot of time there, give me more opportunity. But Frank, I love you.
Frank, what can we say? It'll never be the same. It will never be the same. And one of those funny meetings will be coming up very soon. We got that planned. But we will miss you. We miss the knowledge. And what's sad is that we're losing that knowledge as community board managers, district managers. All right? And the knowledge, the institutional knowledge that you have. I mean, every one of us tapped into you at one time or another. I mean, I even called you and said,
on the weekend.
Never mind what I said. I called them over the weekend and had a few words with them. But Again, you will be so sorely missed. God bless, whatever you do. Meet you down in Florida.
Frank, I thank you, and it'll be our loss, and even more so, I think, for the people of Rego Park and Forest Hills. And I wish you'd stay forever, but I guess you made a decision, and I'd like to lead the lobbying effort to keep you here.
Frank, how dare you leave me here? I met Frank some time ago. I know one thing though. I think you're going to miss my phone calls when I'm trying to call my chair instead of you. However, I also mentioned that, ladies, take a look at Frank. He reminds me of the young Alec Baldwin.
I'm gonna say some mafia.
So I'm going to miss that view as well. But this gentleman is very knowledgeable. He's always been very welcoming. He knows everything. And it is a loss to not only to Ward 6, but for the borough and the city. And I only expect greater things from you. I know you're not done yet.
He looks better than alcohol.
Yes.
Okay, who am I gonna call when I need guidance?
Ghostbusters.
Who are we supposed to call now when we get mad? Ghostbusters.
You are best listening ear, level-headed, always knows how to bring down the temperature in the room, and we're gonna totally miss that. Your knowledge, the way that you deal with people, we learn from you, and we're definitely gonna miss you. I know I'm definitely going to miss you. On the work, personal, and other things that I call you for, I'm still calling. Don't change that number.
Frank, how do you do this?
We know where he lives.
Of our president, I'm sure you said you're looking for a copy of this.
Frank, we know each other a long time. We will continue. What I want to say to you is I wish you the next chapter to be exciting and wonderful and beautiful. Enjoy every moment. I know you're not going far, but as a delegation and as district managers, you have been a friend, a mentor, a leader, and someone who deserves lots of respect. And it's not an easy job that we all have, but you certainly have made it look that way, and you certainly have helped all of us and guided us, and we will all be continuing to be the wings beneath your wings. So we thank you, Frank, for the bottom of our hearts, and we will miss you as the delegation.
Well, I hope you, you know, when you least expect to hear from someone, Frank will call and say, "What's happening?" I'm not going to say I'm going to miss you, because hopefully I will be seeing you.
See you at Anton's.
Yes, we will see each other at Anton's. Good luck, good health. Yes, good health. And whatever you do, I'm sure you will be doing your best.
Of course.
And I will see you at Anton's.
You know it is.
Yvonne and I'll wear another hat, that's what it's from.
You know know their menu practically, right?
Soulless.
But thank you so much. I want to wish everyone a blessed holiday season. Also, most of you should have been alerted. We're going to be releasing our plan on the redevelopment of Creedmoor on tomorrow. The governor has just signed off on it, so we'll be holding our first meeting with civics tonight in the area, but I believe every community board was invited in the surrounding area. We need to focus on the boards there. So please make sure you see Brittany or Mike on the way out if you did not get an invitation. But thank you all. Thank you for a great year. Queens is truly leading the way. Queens is leading the way. It's the telephone on the work that you do every day. So I want you to know we appreciate you. Just want to say thank you. Love you, Frank, as well. See you around the way. Have a great holiday.
Thank you.